So, are you having trouble completing your games on your backlog? If so, stick around for this video because I'm going to share with you guys all my tips and tricks to beating your games. Because in my last video, I mentioned how I want to save money when it comes to gaming and tackling your backlog. And in this day and age, it is actually the perfect time to have a backlog. But it's also the time to beat that backlog. Or, put a sizable dent into it. So hopefully this video helps you guys. Before we get into it though, be sure to hit that like button if you end up liking the video, and hit that hype button if you want to. So without further ado, let's get to Mandyleeplays guide to beating your backlog. The first tip is something you should do before you even play the game, is really think if you're in the mood for this game. I know it's obvious, but a lot of people tend to play games because it's next on the list, but they're not really in the mood for it. I'm a mood gamer, so I always play what I'm in the mood for. And unless your job is to play a game at a certain time, there shouldn't be any rush or pressure to play that game. And I see a lot of people mess up in this step and they end up not beating the game or just disliking it altogether. So really think to yourself, are you in the mood to play this game? If not, you could put it back in the backlog, because gaming is first and foremost a hobby to enjoy. For me, it's kind of different because I do have a channel and I do want to play certain games when they come out, but sometimes it's just not gonna happen. Alrighty, so the next tip is take inventory. This step is really foundational in my opinion, especially if you own a lot of games, and this could be for your physical games and your digital ones too. And this step is basically know what games you have. You can keep track of your games either in a journal, a notes app on your phone, or if you want to be extra, you could do it in an Excel spreadsheet. I don't like spreadsheet. It confuses me more than it helps. And if none of those choices appeal to you, there's actually websites that help too, like Backlog that can help you track your games, and there's other ones too. I'll probably put it here. But needless to say, there's a ton of ways to keep track of your games. For me personally, I like to use the notes app on my iPhone. It's kind of basic, yeah, but it's easy and I could pull it up anytime I want. It's on my phone, easily accessible, and it keeps all my stuff organized. Now, depending on the size of your game collection, it could be really time consuming, but once you get that over with, it does help for the long run. Don't be in that mindset where you're like, well, I'm just gonna remember it, because you won't. You won't remember every game. And there are some times where you will discover games that you're like, oh yeah, I have this game. I completely forgot. And once you've mastered the list, please do update it every time you get a new game or beat a game. And if you do it for some time, it'll become like second nature. I mean, you can even see it when I finish a game on live stream. I'll usually just take my phone and write the game that I beat, the date that I beat it, and how many hours it took. Trust me fam, this helps a lot. Memorizing all this stuff on top of everything else could be really chaotic, so please do yourself the favor and just write it down. Alrighty, now that we established that you should write down the games you have, the next step is to sort it by time commitment. What do I mean by that? Basically, it's to organize your games by how long the game is, because a lot of people do gauge what game they're going to play next via how many hours it takes. And there's actually a website to help you with this, and that is How Long to Beat. This website gives you a guideline on how long it takes to beat a game. So categorizing your games based on hours could really benefit you. Alrighty, now that we got our games nice and sorted and you pick the one that you're in the mood for, time for my next tip, and that is focus on one game at first. This is a step that I recently implemented, mainly because going through a carousel of different games really got me overwhelmed. So I tried to focus on one game or two. Now, one of the games is the game I'm beating personally, and the other one is usually the game that I'm streaming. But for you guys, I do highly recommend you focus on one game first and then branch off into two games. The reason why I do this is because it really gets me to focus on one game at first and keep myself accountable. It's basically the keep your eye on the prize method. And even though you are only focusing on one game, you end up beating more games than if you were focusing on a carousel of different games. So in the last year or two, I really just focus on one game and I don't move to another game until I finish the game that I'm on. This helps you complete the game, and it just overall helps you enjoy the game too, because you're kind of immersed in this world, and it gives you the necessary confidence and attitude that will help you beat the game. Now, this is in effect when you actually play a game that you like. The way that social media is with gaming, everyone's pretty on to the next one kind of vibe. So for this tip, it's going to be hard to see everybody playing a different game, but rest assured, just keep your eye on the prize and beat that game before moving on to the next one. Now, once you've balanced this whole first game and then the next game, you could branch out into two games, though I don't recommend if it's more than 4, mainly because it gets you overwhelmed. Also, you can't get immersed into these worlds if you're just bouncing from game to game. But that's just me though. Some people are different and they could do that. Me personally, nah. It's very hard to balance more than 3 games at a time. And the funny thing is, I used to do that. And that's why I haven't beat as much games as I do nowadays. Editing Mandy here, I also wanted to add that you could still be playing little light games like Pokopia or Mario Kart, etc, while you're doing this tip. This tip is just mainly focusing on single player heavy games. But like anything on this list, do what makes you comfortable. But once you've gotten to the point where you could rotate 2 or 3 games, do keep in mind that these games are not just the same. Like, don't be playing 3 different 100-hour JRPG adventures. So for this tip, I want you to really customize the games that you're rotating and make sure they're different. Have a 100 journey JRPG game, maybe a multiplayer side game, and then a casual game thrown in there. And remember, keep the eye on the prize. What's the prize? Beating your games. Now this video is to help you guys beat your games, but do keep in mind, enjoy your games too. If you're really loving it, do the side quests. And if you're playing on the PlayStation or Xbox or PC, get all the achievements if you really want. Take your time and enjoy your games. And once you beat that game and you digest it, you could then move on to a different adventure. For the next tip, which is something I've had problems with, not gonna lie, but it's basically set a no-buy condition. What do I mean by that? Well, basically, this helps keep you financially mindful. This rule is simple. You do not purchase a game, whether new or used, until you have completed a set amount of games from your backlog. Not only will this keep you focused on the backlog, but it also limits your spending on buying games. But man, does it require a lot of discipline to enact, mainly due to FOMO. Now, I'm not here to be a pocket watcher. Everybody makes their money and everybody should spend their money the way they see fit. This is just a tip. And admittedly so, there are some times where I broke this rule. All this to say, I'm not judging the way you spend your money. I'm the last person to be judging that. But I do highly recommend this tip if you're finding it hard to really justify buying a new game. Especially in these times where buying a game is literally a luxury. And I do want to get more into this topic of how to save when you're buying games, but I'll leave that for another video. But for this video, a good way to beat your backlog is to not contribute to it. Don't feed it more games, so to say. Now, I do know there's occasionally going to be a really hyped game you're really excited for, and in that case, then yeah, buy the game. But in these periods where there's not a lot of games coming out, focus on the backlog. Do not feed the monster. Again, personally, there are times where I wasn't as strong and I had to get a game, and there will be times like that. But generally speaking, don't just buy games just to buy them. And if you find yourself saying, I don't have anything to play, focus on the backlog. You have plenty to play. So before you buy a game, ask yourself, do I really need that game right now? Or basically, am I going to play this game anytime soon? If you have to ask yourself this, then it's probably going to be a no, you don't have to play it anytime soon. That's a good indicator. 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to play it soon. Again, this is a rule for people who want to tip. I'm not judging anyone's spending habits. But with this rule, you have to be really strict with yourself. Say, no, I'm not going to buy this game yet because I have games I want to play first. And not only does that help your backlog problem, it also helps with your finances because you don't have to buy it immediately, and you could purposely just wait for a sale, so you will get the game cheaper. There are some times where I buy a game and then down the line it's on sale for very cheap, and I just get so mad at myself because I bought that game full price. But again, this rule is very hard to follow, especially if you're on social media. FOMO be everywhere, basically. I mean, for me, I bought Pokopia impulsively and it turned out to be great, but honestly, that's a really rare case. So now that we established your backlog and not feeding it, time to talk about tracking your progress. Now this tip is a lot like the journaling one I said earlier, but a bit different. So this tip is basically show off all the games that you're playing. If you have a Twitter, tweet your progress through the game, share it with other people. If you're on Instagram, do the same. Don't be afraid to share the games that you beat or are playing. It helps you not only be accountable, but it's also fun to document your progress through a game in a community. And you might find people who love the game that you're playing. So don't keep all your thoughts about a game just in your thoughts. actually write them down or even express it on Twitter or any other social media outlet. And all this helps to really celebrate your milestones. Nothing feels better than saying, hey, I beat a game, and a lot of people are like, yay, good for you, all that stuff. It might seem little, but in the long run, it does help you keep yourself motivated to beat the next game, whether it be in the comments, on your own channel, on Twitter, on Instagram, or wherever. Always find that positive reinforcement to, again, keep your eye on the prize. So I expressed how sharing a game could be positive, but there are times where you just gotta put down a game. Giving yourself the permission to drop a game, while it does hurt, number one, because you bought it, number two, because you were hoping it was something good, it does happen where the game just ends up not being your cup of tea. It's happened to me a lot of times, actually. Even though I love collecting games, there are times where I just went and traded them in because I know those games are never going to be for me. Except when I was young and I traded all my Pokemon games like a D-Biz. But that's besides the point. And this could be for digital games too. Now, you can't really trade it in, but you could just like yeet it off of your home screen so you don't have to see it anymore. So the last tip is actually one of the most important tips that will help you through a lot of these other tips. And that's basically do not give in to FOMO. For you guys who don't know, FOMO is basically the fear of missing out. And this has to be one of the hardest hurdles to get through. We have limited time offers, pre-order bonuses, social media, praising a game, word of mouth, and just the hype cycles of games that really lead to a FOMO buy. And it just feels like you're gonna miss out on something if you don't cover it, buy it, play it. It makes the player feel like they have to immediately play a game because a lot of people are enjoying it and you're kind of like, I want to enjoy stuff too. And I'm not trying to grandstand or anything. I've given it to FOMO so many times recently. Pokopia, yeah, it did work out for me in the end, but sometimes it just doesn't. But worry not, there are ways to minimize the FOMO buy, mainly being don't just look at social media, really look at other outlets to see if the game is for you. Watch live streams, reviews. There's a lot of YouTubers that do really great reviews, and as always, do your own research. Now, I don't really do this myself, but it might help to mute words regarding a game that just came out. And you also really want to stay in your lane. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know if any of these tips helped. If you have tips of your own that you would love to share, please put it in the comments down below. Everyone is going through their own backlog journey, and I just hope that this video helped with that. If you ended up enjoying the video, please hit that like button, would appreciate it. And if you like this video and others on my channel, please consider subscribing if you're not yet subscribed. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. I hope you guys have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day, and as always, play a good game. Peace, peace.